G'day, welcome to MTG Grinders. We've got Dragons of Tarkir Game Day. We're in Bacchus Marsh. This is the third round. Hi, I'm Lewis, and who's this guy?
I am also Lewis. No, not really. I'm Trent.
It's a very nice combination of names.
I wish I was Lewis sometimes. The beard can get the job done. We have Robbie on the left. It does say blue-black control.
Blue-black control.
And Ryan on the right with Abzan control.
Abzan control. So we've got a control matchup.
Sweet. So, seems good.
Yeah, we're two people who like the old control back and forth.
I don't like control. I'm not a control player.
Trent is not a control player, and if you watch the later videos, do not bring this up with him.
No. So these I actually was able to have a quick look at this match, and Ryan is actually, from what I believe, the store owner, and seems to have a pretty tight hold on his deck. And also, Robbie seemed like he had, well, if you look at it now, with he's got a pretty stacked hand.
Very strong hand.
Who do you favour in this matchup? Where would you stand? Would you stand with the Abzan control round one, or the blue-black control on the round one? It's obviously not a Pro Tour deck as we see Anticipated Ugin in the same deck, which I don't believe was in the Pro Tour top 8.
Okay, but there are a lot of variants.
Oh, variants, sure, but I mean it's not a staple 75 or staple 60.
Look, I'm not sure. Like, I think it comes down to what happens in the early turns,
sure.
And there's like we've got an early Thoughtseize here, so that could give Ryan a bit of an edge to know what's coming, know what to play around.
This is an interesting Thoughtseize. This is a very hard Thoughtseize, actually. A lot of gas, a lot of draw spells, and I feel like that's where the blue-black control very much has its advantage over the Abzan control. Ryan opting to take the Ugin with the Thoughtseize.
Well, it looks like that's what he's just most worried about. We're looking at his hand.
Excuse me.
Looking at his hand, I'm not sure. He's had one land in his hand, so
yeah.
At this stage, he's hoping to get lucky off his Corsair.
I'm surprised that Robbie is actually doing the Anticipate in Ryan's end step there, as Ryan did know Robbie's entire hand knew that he drew that Urbog off the top, so he could have anticipated into potentially a Thoughtseize, being able to just tighten up his mana and being able to use his entire mana pool effectively. I believe he bottomed a Delta and something else and took a Dissolve there, which is like one of the most crucial cards for the match.
Yeah, that's a great card, especially if you pick it up shortly after your opponent's in your hand.
Definitely.
They're less likely to play around the counter magic.
Yeah, for sure. Now, at an end, a very nice looking at an end.
Now Ryan's hoping to get lucky with this Corsair, but unfortunately it gets dissolved.
Robbie knows what's going on by the looks of it as he taps the top of his deck. Knows that he wants to keep the card there from the Scry of Temple of Deceit. Draws
it looks like it was a land, so
another temple.
Which is, that's what you want in the, especially with the blue-black control, which is real late game control deck. Yeah, you really want to hit your land drops.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Scry lands are so valuable in this format.
Oh, for sure.
Now,
speaking of valuable,
Ryan hits another Thoughtseize. Now, Thoughtseize is definitely one of the strongest cards in Standard right now.
Oh, the strongest?
The strongest? Well, I didn't want to make such a bold claim, but I'm happy to agree with you if you say it.
I'll stay by that. I'll stand by that. The interesting thing about this Thoughtseize is, Ryan takes a card, and then that turns on an end-step dig through time for
which
Robbie.
He's got 2 of.
Yes.
Which he didn't have both of them earlier. Did he?
No, he must have drawn one.
Yeah. So I think you just got to take one of the digs here.
I think you have to. It's never bad, but unfortunately...
And bite the bullet that they're going to do the other one.
Yeah, unfortunately your opponent... you've never been so upset to cast a dig through time, I don't think. The value is real for Robbie here as he gets a look at the top 7 cards. Take 2 and then untap. This isn't a main phase, this is in Ryan's end step. And obviously Ryan's missed his land drops, so this is crucial.
He's fallen victim to variance a bit here. Missing out on his land drops. His one way to get ahead was the Corsair, and that just didn't resolve, unfortunately.
Generally, in a position like that, say the Corsair play, do you think about dissolving there? Like, is it I mean, obviously not a bad play. But do you think it's 100%?
I think if my opponent has a land drop still to make that turn, it's definitely more in favour of casting the dissolve and being able to. Not that he needed to scry in that situation because he knew the top card anyway. Having the option to scry is very good.
What cards could be a little bit more prevalent for a dissolve to hit in these control lists? What do you generally see in the Abzan control lists?
Well, Abzan control plays like obviously cards like Siege Rhino you can just clean up with sweepers and kill spells like maybe something like Planeswalker, a late game Planeswalker,
like a Nissar or a Mentor of Heroes or something like that.
Yeah, so something along those lines. I don't know Ryan's list too well.
Yeah, sure. It
he's got a Lily in hand. That looks like the jeweled Exiliana vest.
He does have
right?
No, that's a Hero's Downfall.
That's a Hero's Downfall.
Yeah,
okay,
Downfall.
It looks similar.
Absolutely.
With the foiling. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised he doesn't. Oh no, he does have. He wants to hold the other end. That's what I was going to say. He could resolve an Abzan Charm there to try and sneak in a few points. Sneak in a few cards and try and hit those land drops. But just doesn't want to fall victim to the fact that his opponent is still ahead on cards and vastly ahead on land as well. Which is just you never want to be here. As we see Robbie resolve a Perilous Vault and say, yeah, okay.
And he's leaving up counter mana. And now,
do you fight that?
Look, I don't think so. I think you just counter what. Not if that's the only counter spell you can make before you untap again.
Sure.
I think there's definitely worth thinking about fighting it if you have extra counter spells.
Yep, absolutely.
He's running out of Windswept Heath.
I believe he drew the Windswept Heath and the Thoughtseize off the Abzan Charm and then untapped into a Temple of Silence.
Now he's dealt himself lost 6 life of his own spells.
It definitely is a point of contention for the Abzan lists. They've always generally hurt themselves a lot with cards like Thoughtseize, Fleeceman Lion, which is blue-white, Rekshasha Death Dealer, which is green-black, Abzan Charm, green-white-black, very steep mana costing for the deck, obviously very powerful.
And you try and play spells like Sauron can gain you life back.
Yeah, exactly.
Also gains your life back.
The deck has inbuilt mechanisms.
If you're running Whip, which a lot of these decks can,
absolutely,
that gets you a lot of life.
Yep. It says no on the dissolve for the Thoughtseize. I like that. I just like no. You don't get to know me. You don't get to know my hand. And with this Perilous Vault in hand, it seems like a very bad spot to be in as the control player.
And from Robbie's perspective, like that's 3 mana left after the Thoughtseize. If he had something for 3 mana that was a threat, he would have cast it by now.
Exactly. Yep. He would have snapped that down. And like at bigger stage, it's a Corsair on turn 8, turn 9. It's well, the Corsairs well past its point of where it wants to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's correct to definitely just get that dissolve out of the way. Or sorry, get the Thoughtseize out of the way.
Now, I think he's bottoming a black spell here of his Scryland.
And to anticipate.
Now, there's been a bit of contention how many anticipates is best in the control lists. Mm-hmm. I've heard you talk a bit about it. What is your opinion?
So this card was spoiled, and I was like, madly in love with it.
A lot of people were saying let's jam 4.
Yeah, it was, and I think everybody did. Any control player immediately did. And you see another end onto the Perilous Vault here, which is interesting, but you need to get it off the board. So
yeah, but it's a way to deal with. You're dealing with a permanent here; it can protect a threat later.
Yeah. But coming back to anticipate, you do notice going back to the Pro Tour, which is obviously the most prevalent competitive Magic we've had since Dragons came out. Shodi Ahsoka was running no copies. Adrian Sullivan was running no copies. Both those players finished 2nd and 4th respectively. There was a Dragons list run by I can't think of his name right now, but that was running 4 anticipates. So it definitely comes down to what your theory, where you want to be in regards to anticipate as to how many you want. Me personally, I don't run any. I find it a little underwhelming, whereas Wayne Pigram, which I actually have the privilege to play in later rounds of this day, runs 4 of them, and he thinks it's one of the best cards in his deck. So,
okay, and not giving away too much, but both of you did reasonably well in this event.
We both played a couple of games of Magic and got a couple of W's. So yeah, it was It was a good day. It was a good travel down with the other Grinders boys. We obviously skipped the Bendigo portion of it, which had about 15 players. As we see, Silence the Believers in the end step come down for the Siege Rhino, or the combat step, sorry. And Silence the Believers is an old one. You don't typically see that, although Adrian Sullivan was running a few copies of that. So.
Yep, it's a strong card. Especially in the more grindy mid-range matchups where that can go longer. You can
matchups where it pays off. Yeah, these lists that generally don't want to resolve too many haymakers early on and try and sneak underneath its mana cost.
Now, we've got Robbie on the left just firing off card advantage spells.
Excuse me. Yeah, just getting vastly ahead.
He's looking for his win condition, like he lost his Ugin early on.
And this is where I like the blue-black control list. I mean, typically I like the blue-black control lists. Game 1 against Ubzan. The Ubzan control lists generally run the Fleecemane Lions, Death Dealers and stuff like that in the board to bring in to get more aggressive Game 2. But Game 1, they really suffer from these Silumgar, Scorn, Dissolve, Dig Through Time decks that just capitalise on card draw and slow decks such as Ubzan Control. Ubzan Control's win conditions like Elspeth are blunted by those exact cards plus Hero's Downfall and things like that, and cards like Drifting Death, well, Ubzan just can't answer it.
Yeah, that's right. The blue-black control just has better win conditions.
Yeah,
it's stronger win conditions, and Abzan control is more, especially in the first game, more suited for the creature matchup.
Yeah, for sure.
Which this definitely is not.
We see Ryan with End Hostilities, Ultimate Price, Downfall, Bile Blight. Against any other deck, he's sitting happy, resolving a Siege Rhino and things like that.
These are just dead cards for the most part.
Yeah, exactly.
End Hostilities might be good if a Dragon gets resolved later.
Yeah, maybe if we see like a Tassiger or something, then Ultimate Price is fine, but I mean, Hero's Downfall hits Ugin, which is fine, but you typically don't want to see these cards too much. As we see Robbie fetch after his Dig Through Time, maybe guaranteeing a land off the top as opposed to cracking it before.
Yeah, it's a good way to shuffle in like some good cards that you might have put to the bottom as well.
Okay.
Like this isn't the first dig is cast.
This is the third dig, I believe, and he's had a Thoughtseize taken away from his fourth one, so that would be all 4 dig through times, I believe, unless I'm incorrect. Which I have been known to be.
It's 3 or 4 of them, because he did fire off a Jace's Ingenuity at some point.
Yeah, sure. It'll be interesting to see. No dragons so far, just a Perilous Vault, so this might actually be Sullivan's list. To be completely honest. We see Ashiok. Yeah. Ashiok was in Sullivan's list. Ooh.
Oh.
Big Daddy himself off the top.
Now that's
a
Corsair. Yeah, Ryan's not happy to see that Garrick go.
No,
I reckon.
No. I don't think he's very happy at all to see anything go. To be honest, he's got to fight over this Ashiok.
He had a very shaky start in this game, and it's just he's made it a good distance, but
yeah, I don't know how much I like fighting over the Ashiok. I know that this deck generally doesn't. If it is the Sullivan list or that of the Sullivan list, it takes a long time to win its matches. So maybe you do want to fight over Ashiok and things like that. But
yeah, well, Hero's Downfall is dead in a lot of other situations.
Yeah,
in this deck,
sure.
So
I mean, by no stretch making Ryan cast the double downfall. I think that's correct on his part to get that guy off the table. More as a, do I really care about this Ashiok? And using the last counterspell that I have in my hand. I suppose he does have access to...
On Robbie's side, you mean? Okay.
Yeah, from Robbie's perspective. Well, he does have double downfall, so he can deal with any card in...
Well, that does get the second downfall out of his hand. Like, that's...
Yeah,
I don't hate the play, although I'm sure you could have a good conversation about whether or not it's the correct one.
I mean, it's... in either way, there's land flying everywhere at the moment, as we see another Utter End on the Perilous Vault.
Yep.
And I think that's, again, just the correct decision to...
Now, we've got a nice win condition here coming from Abzan Control. Now, unfortunately, I think there are a number of answers in Robbie's hand.
Ugin typically not that great against the blue-black control list in the ways of, doing anything outside of doing exactly what he's doing now.
Basically, 8 mana Lightning Bolt.
Yes.
Discard a card. Discard a Hero's Downfall.
Yep. I've been lucky enough to play the Abzan Control or not the mirror, but a play against Abzone control, and a fair few blue-black control lists over the past week. And yeah, Ugin just seems that's exactly what he does. He comes down, it resolves, and then it eats the downfall. Very hard to protect because obviously it costs 8, and you want.
And yeah, this isn't the matchup where Ugin is at his best. Like,
No,
Ugin's at his best against the Abzan mid-range decks, as an example.
Absolutely. As we see, Ryan still stuck with the Bile and Ultimate Price and an End Hostility, so practically
he's
half a card in hand, really.
He's probably thinking about sideboarding right now, getting some of those cards out of his deck.
I have no issue with that. There's a good one.
Oh, there's a little.
That is a good one. This can get some stuff rolling if it resolves.
When I got back into Magic a few years ago now, last time she was in Standard, she was just one of my favourite cards.
Oh, she's great.
If I was playing a black-green Infect deck, running Liliana Vest back in those days.
What do you think about this? Making my opponent discard
instead of tutoring.
I mean, Rad's clearly got nothing going on in his hand, so not tutoring there to get a threat as he draws a Temple of Silence. I like gassing. I'm definitely on the tutor side there.
Yeah, I think it's slightly better to tutor there. Like, I can see the logic. I can see the logic for making the discard happen. Just trade off resources.
Sure.
But unfortunately, it was only an 8th of spouts that was discarded. Yeah, something that's not the best here.
Robbie's gonna have to have dead cards in his hand.
Yeah.
With the amount of land he's had, with the amount of card draws that he's had, he's gonna have a dead card. So discarding is probably. He's not going to be fussed by that. You're not going to get quality.
Yeah, the game one in the control mirror is always very interesting because your hand's stacked and only half your hand's useful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you've got all these creature removal cards that just aren't going to have much use.
Sure. And this would be the. See, I was correct.
This is the final dig. Yeah, you must have been that Jason.
Yeah, sure. And as we see the deck getting a little thin.
He's got to have a win condition left in there.
There's got to be a Peleg Ancient and a second Asher.
There's an Ugin.
Okay, there's an Ugin. Well, that has to go.
Ugin and Hero's Downfall is what he's keeping.
Sure.
So I think that's fine.
I think you need to try and win the game.
Yeah,
so
he's adding it to his collection of Hero's Downfalls in his hand. Oh no, that's what it was. Bottoming.
Okay, sure.
Was that the last card in his hand?
No.
Oh no! He put it off to the side off camera.
Yeah, they were off camera.
I could have sworn he had a fat grip earlier.
Yeah. He had all the gas going on. We see Ugin resolve, and this is a much better Ugin, a much better positioned Ugin in the way of counter magic.
Ugin backed up with what blue? Although, does he have any counter magic in his hand?
He does have a dissolve.
He does have.
We see Elspeth, Sun's Champion.
Okay, yeah, I see it. Yeah.
And this is probably just not the spot.
No, well, Ugin can fight Elspeth pretty well.
Yeah, Ugin fights everybody.
He can kill. He's got the option of -6 to kill Elspeth and everything, or he can 0 to kill the tokens if he wants. But
it's irrelevant.
Elspeth doesn't hit this battle. The battlefield at all.
Snap, dissolve. No, don't want you to have that. I want to kill you with this Ugin a turn quicker than having dissolve. As he draws Temple of Silence, scries. Puts the Opulent Palace, look like an Opulent Palace to the bottom.
Yeah, it was a land.
Lightning Bolt his opponent, put his opponent down to 9, and say go.
Yeah. Now Ugin setting up quite the clock here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then another Elspeth.
We will slam this Elspeth.
Now this Elspeth's going to hang around for a little bit longer.
I think it's about 1 activation longer.
Now, does Robbie untap and minus Ugin, or does he downfall and 0?
He has a copy of Bile Blight and Drowning Sorrow in hand.
So he can just 2 for 1 and keep bolting.
Yeah.
Looks like that's what he's doing. He's a Bile Blight the tokens, downfall Elspeth. That's so he's not losing a turn in his clock.
Yeah, potentially a play there from Ryan was to ultimate price the targeted Bile Blighted soldier to keep 2 soldiers around. Ryan does have an ultimate price in his hand, so just potentially being able to keep 2 power on the board and, I don't know, help a little bit more. I mean, ultimate price is never going to hit anything in this list, so maybe just stopping the effectiveness of Bile Blight there on his tokens.
Yeah, looks like he's just playing for... Ooh, that's an Abzan Charm, which can potentially draw him something. He's got to go to 1 to do it.
He's going to 1.
But look, I reckon he's been thinking about game 2 for quite some time.
I believe that is definitely probably a line that's in his head right now. As this Corsair is...
He's trying to figure out a way that doesn't kill himself to play it.
He's got
quite a few paint lands.
3 Utter End in the main deck. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
It's generally not what you see in these controllers.
It's a very powerful effect.
Oh, absolutely.
The fact that it can hit anything.
Absolutely. And if you haven't noticed, they're all Game Day promos. They're all very nice Utter Ends. As we see Ugin tick up and...
yep, there he is. He's revealing his hand.
Okay, well that's game 1, but we still have a handshake, so...
Alright, so let's wait for game 2.